your place, and now you got to freak me out. Scream so loud, getting fucking late. You want me to stay, but I got to make my way. Hey, you're crazy bitch, but you fuck so good I'm on top of it when I dream. I'm doing you all night, scratches all down my back to keep me right on. Hey, you're crazy bitch, but you fuck so good I'm on top of it when I dream. I'm doing you all night, scratches all down my back to keep me right on.
Welcome back to the Shits and Giggles Show. Today we are going to break down all you need to know about what is going on in the news and, more importantly, why it is important to you. So where do we start? I guess we should start at the beginning. As you know, a seat has been made vacant in the Supreme Court of the United States due to the retirement of Justice Anthony Kennedy, which gave Trump a second pick in the Supreme Court. To the left, this is unthinkable. Trump's first pick stole their chance at upsetting the balance of the Supreme Court, but overall, the court would stay the same. This pick, the second nomination, Brett Kavanaugh, now may alter the balance of the court in going to the right, and that is making the left lose their minds. They're losing their shit, folks. We saw the left do everything in their power to disrupt the confirmation hearings. And now that didn't work, they have pulled out all the stops and have decided, rededicated themselves to the principles espoused by Saul Alinsky. Saul Alinsky was a left-wing 60s radical who wrote a book, Rules for Radicals. In his book, Alinsky introduced America to the concept of gaining power through any means necessary. You've heard that before, by any means necessary. It comes from somewhere. Read books. The means the left is dedicated to use in this confirmation process is the destruction of an honorable man. Judge Kavanaugh, by any scale, has been proven to be an honest and thoughtful judge. He's been subjected to no less than 6 FBI background checks throughout his career. Upon completion of the confirmation hearings, and after it had become obvious that he was going to be confirmed, the left spontaneously found a woman who came forward at the 11th hour to accuse him of sexual assault when he was in high school. Now after a second hearing, his accuser, Dr. Ford, was able to provide zero evidence of the alleged assault. On the other hand, Brett Kavanaugh was able to successfully disrupt her claims by providing overwhelming evidence that he was neither where she said he was nor with whom she claims. In short, this was an attempted political assassination on a good man for a political gain. Today we are going to bring you the highlights from that hearing, discuss the bigger implications of radicalism on the campus, on the court, in the workplace, and in Washington, D.C. Brian, I made it through that.
Yes.
That was my first ever monologue, folks.
You only sounded drunk right at the end.
A little bit.
Yeah.
That's a lot of words flying out of there.
Yeah.
You know, when I put together that video in the very beginning of the show, my God, I must have looked at a million. I searched Kavanaugh protesters. I didn't find one chick I would do. Not one. Not a 3 in the bunch. Fat tater hogs. Sleaze stacks, if you will. I just watched that movie the other night.
Which one is that?
Land of the Lost with Will Ferrell.
Oh, that is, dude, it's the stupidest movie, but it is funny.
It was just kind of cool to see the word sleaze stack again. I totally, forgot about it. That's getting off track. But anyway, this Kavanaugh thing is actually getting really, really frightening. The left's willingness to actually just destroy a man, destroy a family, because they want some sort of political gain. It's obvious to anybody that's looking. I don't know I don't know where they're finding these protesters and these chicks. I mean, I could see somebody, like if you're a girl that got sexually assaulted and stuff, I mean, obviously that's going to be an important issue to you. But even in Dr. Ford's explanation what happened that night, I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
It's weird. It's strange. I've seen a lot of interviews with women that have been sexually assaulted over the last few days. They talk about it, and they don't agree with anything. They don't agree that she is being truthful. They think that she thinks she is telling the truth, but everything that she can't remember is it's becoming crazy.
Well, and they act like, she's so damaged. I could understand some sexual assaults absolutely are damaging. Rapes are horrendous. You change someone's entire life.
Yeah.
But what she described and then described the impact on her, the two don't jive.
I mean,
so a guy fell on you, maybe grabbed your boob, and you rolled off the bed laughing. Everybody runs down the hall.
Right. I've had worse than that done to me at the bar. I mean, I've been sexually assaulted by many women at the bar.
You are a sexy son of a bitch.
Well, no, it's just that they're drunk and they grab your shit. I'm like, if I did that or you did that, you know what that would happen. Though.
Dude, you can't assault willing, bro. You really can't.
Yeah.
But it's like, here's the thing, like the impacts that she said, and it's convenient to her too. She goes, oh no, I did talk about this before 2012. It was to my husband and to my therapist. Well, that's you know why those two people were brought up. Those are the two people that can't be compelled to be a witness against her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And supposedly
convenient.
They've given up her the notes during what they talked about, but she never actually named Kavanaugh.
Oh, in the note? I didn't know that she gave up her notes.
Yeah, the notes have been given up to a few people have the notes, I guess.
But they weren't entered into the hearing. Here's the thing, too.
Do you know why she went to talk to somebody about this? So
yeah, because she said, when me and my husband were building our mansion, I had to have a second front door.
And he refused. He's like, you don't need another door.
But here's the thing. Because a guy fell on you when you were 14 and grabbed your titty isn't going to impact you in that way. It's just not. And if it does, you're histrionic. And this claim that they say that, you know what, every woman needs to be taken seriously. Every woman would be listened to. I would say that would be true if women didn't have a history of being able to manufacture histrionics. They do it all the time. They do it constantly. That's why you're not taken seriously, is because you don't take your own emotional balance seriously. And then she was trying to say, well, I can't fly. I'm afraid of confined spaces. So because when they offered, she said that she wasn't going to be able to make it on Monday because she was afraid of flying, because due to the damage of the assault, she was afraid of confined space. But then when asked by a ex-special victims unit prosecutor lady, or when they dug into it a little deeper, it turns out she flies everywhere all the time.
Yeah, she doesn't have a problem flying.
She has no problem with that.
And then I like when they asked her, so did your attorneys let you know that the Senate Oversight Committee, Judicial Oversight Committee, would fly out to California and interview you there? And I was like, no, I didn't know. And by the way, that little voice that women like to use when they're in trouble, when they're lying, when they're trying to get something from you.
Yep.
It's a bunch of bullshit.
You know what? I saw a lot on the news, everybody, and this was the line of the week. I have no doubt. I don't question that Christine Ford, whatever, Dr. Ford, whatever, was assaulted. I do. Absolutely do. She's a tool.
I didn't see anything in her interviewing, in the interview, that made me think that she was telling the truth. If anything, finding out that she actually flies around, a bunch of the stuff that they were asking her, she lied about. I mean, at one point they asked her, who's paying for your for
the lie detector test.
Lie detector test, and she just like stood.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's like they put her on a bunch of Prozac or whatever, some type of antidepressant, or not antidepressant, but an anti-anxiety medication before she came in. The other problem was during the lie detector test. She says, "I was there for hours, and it was like they went through my whole life." And
they said they asked 2 questions.
2 questions.
2 questions.
And the guy who gave the lie detector test did spend about an hour going over the story with her. And she supposedly was crying through the whole thing. So which at that point, everybody says that when you're crying through a lie detector, it drops dramatically on accuracy. And they shouldn't even have done a lie detector test. They should have done a forensic analysis and talked to her that way. And the lie detector tests are absolutely worthless, whereas forensic analysis interviews are not. Those are used in court, whereas the lie detector is not.
Well, the whole point is, and you're wondering, like, if you're wondering at all what this is about, it's easy. This was about, all it was about. It wasn't about justice for her. It wasn't her doing a civic duty and outing a sexual assailant from high school. This was about trying to delay the appointment of a Supreme Court justice until after the midterms. That's all it was about. Never was about sexual assault. Every woman, here's the funny thing, man. You see, Alyssa Milano was there. What happens? Once you get washed up, you have to become an activist? Is that what it is? That's how you become relevant?
I would still do her.
Right, but now it's more like doing a
I know.
regular hot chick.
Yeah.
It's not, but that's all. This is all a dog and pony show, and the whole point was political. And the fact that the left has finally dedicated themselves, like, no matter what, we will win. No matter who we destroy, we will win. It's sickening.
They're disgusting.
And if you don't see it, you're lying to yourselves. And that's fun. It's almost time to start bringing on a liberal. It's like, but I know what I'm going to get. If we got your typical feminist here, it's going to be, wow, and you hate women. I love women. I think we've established through the show, I love women.
I've had the utmost respect for women my whole life. I have never thought of women as inferior. I do know that women cannot do some things that I can do. I can't do some things that they can do. I cannot squeeze a cantaloupe out of between my legs. They can. But other than that,
there's a lot more they can do that give birth.
Right. Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Sexist.
The cantaloupe that comes out of their vagina. So, it's like that's like the one thing that we can't do that they can do. But we can also do things physically better. And I'm not trying to say we're better, but that's just the way it is.
There's just defined roles throughout millennia that men and women have. And these feminists, these radical feminists, are challenging those roles, and unfortunately, a lot of people are just letting it go. Oh yeah, no.
No, and now what they're doing is they're giving the children drugs to make them into women.
That's what it seems like. Well, they're definitely demasculating.
And
the entire country.
Yeah, and they're making these boys weak.
Anyway, dude, that was a rant and a half. Let's look at. Brett Kavanaugh. Now, this is the one thing I wanted to pick out. I don't think somebody would have stood up this strongly unless we weren't in the Trump era. I think Trump has made it easier for people to speak their minds without you and just cut through the bullshit. So this is Brett Kavanaugh in his opening address to the court. I try to chop it down as much as I can, but I think it's important for our audience to see.
Hey, do you know who that blonde is to the right of him?
No, who's that?
I don't know. I've been trying to figure out for days.
Alyssa Milano's behind the bald guy that's bent
she's
over
over here.
Anyway, all right. Play it.
This confirmation process has become a national disgrace. The Constitution gives the Senate an important role in the confirmation process, but you have replaced advice and consent with search and destroy. Since my nomination in July, there's been a frenzy on the left to come up with something, anything, to block my confirmation. Shortly after I was nominated, the Democratic Senate leader said he would, quote, oppose me with everything he's got. A Democratic senator on this committee publicly referred to me as evil. think about that word, and said that those who supported me were, quote, complicit in evil. Another Democratic senator on this committee said, quote, Judge Kavanaugh is your
Stop it
worst
right there.
nightmare.
And this is absolutely what happened in the first one. They didn't know all that the left had was his, 12 years on the federal bench?
Yeah, 12
like
years on
300 decisions he made. And then they're right out of the, first, within, 30 minutes of him being introduced? Nominated?
Yeah.
Chuck Schumer says, I'm going to stop him no matter what. It's like, well, you don't know anything about him yet. There hasn't even been a hearing because it's not about Brett Kavanaugh. It's about power.
Right.
And it's so power hungry. And then calling him evil.
Right. It's because the left uses the court to pass laws instead of actually passing laws.
Because they can't pass their laws. The laws that the left proposes are fucking insane. They literally look at California. If you want the entire country to be like California, that's what you get. They're fucking insane. Anyway, continue. But the bastardization right off the bat was brutal.
A former head of the Democratic National Committee said, quote, Judge Kavanaugh will threaten the lives of millions of Americans for decades to come. I understand the passions of the moment, but I would say to those senators, your words have meaning. Millions of Americans listened carefully to you. Given comments like those, is it any surprise that people have been willing to do anything, to make any physical threat against my family, to send any violent email to my wife, to make any kind of allegation against me and against my friends, to blow me up and take me down? You sowed the wind. For decades to come, I fear that the whole country will reap the whirlwind. The behavior of several of the Democratic members of this committee at my hearing a few weeks ago was an embarrassment. But at least it was just a good old-fashioned attempt at borking. Those efforts didn't work. When I did at least okay enough at the hearings that it looked like I might actually get confirmed, a new tactic was needed.
Stop it. Just in case you've never heard the concept of borking, what they're doing to Brett Kavanaugh is not new. It's just the worst example of it. In the, I think, 89, something like that, Ronald Reagan put up a guy, Justice Bork, or wanted to, and it was Ted Kennedy that just threw dirt
Yeah, we're talking about the same Ted Kennedy that murdered somebody.
Yeah. They're trying to get, if you want to know how much class the Democratic Party has, go watch the movie Chappaquiddick.
Yeah.
But this has been, and then in, oh no, Bork was before that.
Yeah,
I think
was
89.
Bork was in the early 80s.
Yeah, 89 was
91 was
Clarence Thomas and Anita Hill. They brought just like this, found a woman, and they were claiming that that he had sexually harassed her. And it turned out he got confirmed, thank God. And I'm pretty sure Kavanaugh will be. But this is how far the left is willing to go. But anyway, that's what a borking is.
Yeah. Clarence Thomas had one of the best lines I ever heard. This is a high-tech lynching of an uppity black man.
Yep.
I mean,
he's a stud. Anyway, continue.
Some of you were lying in wait and had it ready. This first allegation was held in secret for weeks by a Democratic member of this committee and by staff. It would be needed only if you couldn't take me out on the merits. When it was needed, this allegation was unleashed and publicly deployed over Dr. Ford's wishes. And then, as no doubt was expected, if not planned, came a long series of false last-minute smears designed to scare me and drive me out of the process before any hearing occurred. Crazy stuff. Gangs, illegitimate children, fights on boats in Rhode Island. All nonsense, reported breathlessly and often uncritically by the media. This has destroyed my family. and my good name. This whole 2-week effort has been a calculated and orchestrated political hit, fueled with apparent pent-up anger about President Trump and the 2016 election, fear that has been unfairly stoked about my judicial record, revenge on behalf of the Clintons, and millions of dollars in money from outside left-wing opposition groups. This is a circus. I will not be intimidated into withdrawing from this process. You've tried hard. You've given it your all. No one can question your effort. But your coordinated and well-funded effort to destroy my good name and destroy my family will not drive me out. The vile threats of violence against my family will not drive me out. You may defeat me in the final vote, but you'll never get me to
That dude's
quit.
a stud.
Never.
In a way, I'm almost glad that we got to see this go down, because we wouldn't have gotten that speech. Throughout the hearings, he was kind of robotic, just like all Supreme Court nominees are.
Even on the when he did that interview on Fox News, I was like, that was not a very good interview.
No, he was saving it for this, I'm
Yeah.
for sure. But, yeah, he where do you think he stands now? Where do you think he feels about the political left?
Oh,
They may have politicized him more, and chances are he's going to be
you know,
put on the Supreme
you know,
Court.
the funniest thing about this is when they nominated him, I was like, God, I didn't want them to nominate him. I wanted Mike Lee. And
Right.
So it's like I wasn't even a big supporter of his. Now I'm like his biggest supporter.
Yeah.
They do this every time. This is like when Trump. I was not a Trump supporter.
No, neither of us were. We were both Ted Cruz guys.
Right. And then when they did this to Trump, it was like, no.
I thank God for Trump every day, because I don't know if he would be. Can you turn up my headphones just a little bit?
Yeah.
I don't think he would be as outspoken as he is, but he's opened up that, Trump has opened up the floodgates for free speech.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely beautiful to hear. And if you go back and rewatch that, you see Alyssa Milano in the back.
Yeah.
I think there is just a hint of, oh my God,
No, they said, I was watching one interview, and they said, well, there was people in the crowd actually tearing up, people that you would not expect, and they were talking about her.
Yeah.
So she got, I mean, I watched, I paid attention to people behind him when he's, and by the way, if you guys haven't watched this, go find it. It's like 20 minutes long. Go watch the full interview, or his full speech, because it's you watch the man get choked up. You can watch the honesty in this person. You can see
oh, absolutely.
that the left has been lying.
They thought that they were going to get some like, oh no, I didn't do it, blah, blah, blah. What they got is the passion of a man furiously defending his name.
Yeah.
And that can't be beat.
I watched his wife. I mean, you could see his wife. She did. I don't know how she did not cry. She
Yeah.
didn't do it. I told my dad when we were watching it. I was like, he's gonna cry when he does this.
Yeah.
And he's like, they're just gonna call him a big pussy if he does it. I'm like, no.
No, you go ahead.
No, that's
Go ahead and call him
right.
pussy, because then he's just a sympathetic character.
Right. And I said, the anger, when you're accused of something and you know you didn't do it, and that built up anger, I mean, it turns to every emotion comes out when that happens.
Yeah.
That's how you can tell somebody that is innocent a lot of times, just by watching their demeanor.
Well, absolutely. The concept that the left is trying to put through, that, everything is credible that any woman says ever. I don't think they understand the repercussions of what that's going to have on actual women. Think about this. Let's say you have a successful business and you have a almost equally paired man and woman applying for a job. Who's the bigger liability to your business?
Yeah, insurance-wise, it's going to be the woman.
Well, yeah, because
And this has nothing to do with giving birth or anything like that.
No.
It's just your insurance.
your ability, just your ability to lay claim that could destroy you.
Right.
Yeah, no thanks. I'll pass on the chick. That's what Me Too has bought you. And I'm not saying that people haven't been abused in Hollywood and all that stuff, but
And they have. We know that.
People have been, you know what? If he legitimately had raped somebody, it should have came up. But he didn't. He didn't.
Yeah.
And, and this is here's another thing that I saw come out. Obviously, he came out hot. He came out upset. And again, this was talking about Trump opening the floodgates for people actually speaking their mind in Washington. The next video we got here is Lindsey Graham, who is probably my second least favorite senator.
Right.
I'd like, well, he's
up until 2 days ago.
Jeff Flake. Yeah, Arizona, what are you doing? You guys picked the worst goddamn people for senators. But Lindsey Graham has always been just this sort of rhino, just like John McCain was. Rhino, in case you don't know what we're saying when it says Republican in name only. But if you watch this video, this is completely unscripted. Anyway, yeah, let's look at...
Did you know that her and her staff had this allegations for over 20 days?
I did not know that at the time.
If you wanted an FBI investigation, you could have come to us. What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. You said that, not me. You've got nothing to apologize for. When you see Sotomayor and Kagan, tell them that Lindsey said hello, because I voted for them. I would never do to them what you've done to this guy. This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics. And if you really wanted to know the truth, you sure as hell wouldn't have done what you've done to this guy. I cannot imagine what you and your family have gone through. Boy, y'all want power. God, I hope you never get it. I hope the American people can see through this sham, that you knew about it and you held it. You had no intention of protecting Dr. Ford. None. She's as much of a victim as you are. This is going to destroy the ability of good people to come forward because of this crap. Your high school yearbook. You have interacted with professional women all your life, not one accusation. You're supposed to be Bill Cosby when you're a junior and senior in high school. And all of a sudden you got over it. To my Republican colleagues, if you vote no, you're legitimizing the most despicable thing I have seen in my time in politics. You want this seat? I hope you never get it. I hope you're on the Supreme Court. That's exactly where you should be. And I hope that the American people will see through this charade. And I wish you well, and I intend to vote for you, and I hope everybody who's fair-minded will.
That's he was a little passionate.
That was if Cory Booker had an I am Spartacus moment, I think that was more of an I am Spartacus moment than
Yeah, absolutely. Here, and he made a good point. If this is how every single nominee for the Supreme Court is going to be treated, who's going to want to? And this might be a shot across the bow for the next guy, because Ruth Bader Ginsburg is going to croak any day. And now the list of people, you're going to have to blow that one up when we get to it. Yeah. The list of people might get a little bit shorter. Like, nah, I'm not going to put my family through that. It's just it's sad. During the hearings, Dr. Ford was questioned by Arizona sex crimes prosecutor Rachel Mitchell. Told Republican senators in a conference meeting Thursday evening that she would not charge Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh after hearing testimonies of the judge or his accuser, Christine Blasey Ford. So she was there at the hearings, and I didn't watch this part. Did you see it?
Yeah, no, I watched. I mean, I worked that day, but at lunch I watched this part of it. Or in the morning I watched part of her doing the questioning, and everybody was like, she was not very good. She wasn't, but they got to understand she's a prosecutor for.
She's an investigator.
No, she's a prosecutor.
Oh, is she?
Yes, she's a sex crimes prosecutor. She works at SVU in Arizona, and she was asking the questions like she would normally do with somebody that was the person who was attacked, and so I don't think they understood what she was doing, And the hardest part was it was like she had 5 minutes and she had to stop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then the Democrats would come on and go, "You're so powerful for doing what you're doing. We're so happy that you came out and you're telling your story." And that's what every Democrat would do. And then would come back and she'd ask them questions.
Scroll that down a little bit. That's the whole thing, and then giving them that idea that she. Let's see, Mitchell, who took leave. You gotta blow it. Anyway, it's the last line I wanted to get to. Yeah. So, Brooke Sigmund of Fox News quoted one source as saying Mitchell was very clear with senators that based on evidence presented, she couldn't bring the case anywhere near a courtroom. That's how believable this lady is.
Yeah.
This is just an ugly period, man. And a very,
It really is.
very, very ugly period. And here's the thing. So we got through it, and obviously we showed you the highlights. His entire testimony was awesome. And he shot to pieces. He brought forward a calendar from 1982
right.
of where he was, and Blasley Ford came and done. She couldn't say where she was, when it was.
All she could describe was there was a staircase.
There's a staircase and a bathroom and a bedroom, and the bed was on the right hand side.
Yeah,
all stuff that you can't prove. And she did say this person was here, like 3 people were there, and when asked, those 3 witnesses said, "No, I don't know anything about this. This never happened." So, so he sailed through it, but because the left is so good at being loud and angry and disturbed, I'm not going to show you this whole video. And Republican senators are known for being weak-kneed and just pussies, to be honest with you. Particularly Jeff Flake. So they were all set to go. They were scheduled. They were supposed to vote yesterday, Friday.
So they voted Friday. They did vote.
Oh, they voted Friday to clear committee.
Clear committee, and then they were supposed to vote today to for the cloture vote would have been today, and then Wednesday or
I don't know what the hell cloture means.
Cloture just closes out the time of arguing.
Oh, okay.
So,
so of course, being the predators that they are, the evil feminist activists preyed on the herd, Senator Jeff Flake, and they captured him in the Senate elevator, and this is what occurred.
Senator Flake!
Why did you vote yes? I understand that you said just
On Monday, I stood in front of your office. On Monday, I stood in front of your office with Ann Barker. I told the story of my sexual assault. I told it because I recognized in Dr. Ford's story that she's telling the truth. What you are doing is allowing someone who actually violated a woman.
All right, go ahead, stop it.
In the Supreme Court. This is not tolerable.
So this is a senator's only elevator. And this is another very disturbing thing I'm seeing. Where's the security?
yeah,
Capitol security.
Capitol
This
Police?
lady's allowed to stand in the senator's elevator and block it and scream into senator. And Heidi and Ted Cruz this weekend got chased out of a restaurant again by more of these activists. You know,
Did you hear what they did though with the restaurant? So they moved them out into another room, and then they pushed the protesters out, and they came back in and ate. And I read the restaurant because I was pissed at the restaurant.
Yeah.
And so I read what the restaurant said afterwards. Was like, no, we cater to our people, our patrons, and they took care of it and made sure that they got.
well, after you have leftists gunned down
Right.
a United States congressman, it's you know what? It's time for the old hickory shampoo. I said this before. And you know what? Let them cry. I don't care. This is the Trump era. If you're going to be this, sit down is fine or whatever you're going to do.
Hickory shampoo.
The hickory shampoo. A little on the head with the...
Okay.
The old, you never heard that before?
No, never heard that before.
Yeah.
That's
That's an old timey cop term. Is the old give them the old hickory shampoo. It's time for security for our senators and stuff. It's only a matter of time until Donald Trump wins his second election.
Oh,
They're going to be trying to kill us.
No, I think they'll kill themselves.
I do. Yeah, it'll be like Black Friday where they're all jumping out of windows.
Yeah.
But I mean, the narrative is now pretty much every woman is a victim, no matter what, and they all need to be believed. And all men, particularly white men, especially white men over 30,
As we saw Joy Behar say last week, those are all old white men.
old, by the way, old white men. We're all evil. We are we didn't make the moonshot happen. Didn't invent the fucking airplane.
I got into it with
We
somebody.
we never did anything
I got
to
into
contribute
it,
to anything.
I got into it with this lady on Facebook today about that. And I said, you know what? Fine. I'm tired of this. I said, look, the next time you ask a man to walk you out to the car because you're worried it's dark, and you just think about this, because you're blaming all men for this. Because she was on there telling all men that all men attack women and molest children.
Shut the fuck
And
up.
I'm just like,
Dude, you know what? Yeah, it's ridiculous. But here's the narrative is just that. It's just a narrative. They're trying to break up what we know is normal so that they can reestablish the new normal, which would be horrible. Blow that up for me. But here's the truth about high school and young men. This is why, go all the way to the top, all the way to why I'm talking to our millennial audience, especially the guys. Boys more likely to be victim of teen dating violence than girls, study shows. Vancouver. Who is more likely to be victimized by teen dating violence? If you're quick to think it's girls, new data shows you are wrong. In a surprising twist, recently published research indicates boys are more likely to report being victims of dating violence committed by partners who hit, slap, or push them. And I know that to be absolutely true.
I can attest to that.
Yeah. Any guy who's ever had a girlfriend that was a little wacky.
One of my longest relationships was, I got hit in the face with the phone. I got slapped. I got told I was fat. I got,
How
Right.
dare she?
And I wasn't then.
Oh, okay.
I am now, but I wasn't then. And it's like, I was told I was fat. I was punched in the face, and it's just like,
The amount of restraints guys do have
right. And
is amazing. Because if you look, I've watched, I've seen it happen to I don't know how many friends. They end up getting slapped around, pushed, punched, their hair pulled.
It's funny. Her dad told me, he goes, "You just need to smack her," and I'm like, "That's the last thing."
Well,
I'm
if
gonna
this
do.
was 1960s,
Yeah, it might have happened.
if my name was Sean Connery, then I
You're gonna
slap her.
You're gonna just
You
slap her.
gotta slop her around a little, and nobody's for that. But the evidence goes against the narrative,
Right.
and it's just absolutely insane. And speaking of, remember I was talking about what are they going to do? Go to the next slide. And remember I was talking earlier about what happens to actresses once they're washed up. This is a headline. Actress Mira Sorvino doubles down after saying America needs a revolution. What happens to actresses once they stop?
They turn to activism.
And just because they want to stay relevant. I don't think it has anything to do with anything. And it's funny because the left is eating their own. Actress Mira Sorvino apologizes on Twitter Saturday after she said America needs a revolution and made it clear that she has always been infuriated by all the evil injustices. I guess she had a tweet out. Go to the next slide. She had a tweet out, her first tweet. Whoa. I apologize to anyone. Oh, no, the first one on the bottom.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, you gotta. Anyway, here, go back. I'm sorry. I guess she put a tweet out saying, I'm just so mad about this, and people took it. The left took it as, welcome to the party. You're just mad now. And she goes, I apologize to anyone who thought my revolution post meant I didn't care until today. It meant I lost most hope that progress in the way I have been pushing it as an activist may not be possible in the current system. But I've always been infuriated by the evil of injustices. This is the next line trips me out. Especially towards people of color, women of color, Native people, Latinos, LGBTQ, and non-binary people. So if you've
Don't forget
ever...
the persecuted religion and
persecuted
trafficking victims. And
who's persecuting human trafficking victims? ICE. That's what she's talking about. And sexual abuse survivors. My apologies to anyone who thought this was the first day I cared. Not so. Very sorry if I offended. So she's not offended that she actually called for a revolution. Revolutions are very bloody, dirty, painful things. And if you're not prepared,
you're going to lose.
You're going to lose. She didn't apologize for that. But if you go back and read Animal Farm, George Orwell, and this is why reading is important. And in today's day where if you're listening to a podcast on your way to work, you have enough time to listen to a book. I understand reading books, not everybody has time, whatever, blah, 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 but you definitely have time to listen now. If you can listen to a podcast, you can listen to a book, especially if you have any sort of commute. Alec. Go back and read 1984 from George Orwell's good, but Animal Farm. First they start two legs good, 4 legs bad. So there's a special type of person. And then there's another line in the book, I can't remember, can't quote it exactly, but it's like, some people are more equal than others. And that's what we have here. It's like, well, we all have equality, but really, people of color, women of color, Native people, Latinos, they are really extra equal.
Basically, what she said in this tweet was, everybody except for white men.
Right.
So
you know, I'm tired of it, dude. I'm tired of it. And it's never said to my face. Never.
No.
Are you scared of me? Maybe, and that's what it really comes down to. You're afraid. Well, guess what? Yeah, you are afraid. You know why? Because I'm trained, I'm prepared, and I'm capable. That's not my fault. I have never threatened anybody in my life. Never. But I'm always ready to defend myself. And if for some reason that scares them, that's the point of me training and being ready and capable, is to stop injustices happening to myself and the people I love. And if that makes you afraid of me, too bad. Don't care. But I'm tired of being called an abuser, a rapist, a child. I have nothing to do with it.
Try work. I work in an industry that is predominantly... I service an industry, that is predominantly women and predominantly under the age of 35. And I am treated like the lowest form of life when I go into these places. I mean, they think I'm stupid when it's actually they are. I have much more experience in life than these people do.
Well,
and it's like...
That's what we're talking about with college education. Everybody comes out with a 4-year degree and they think that they're fucking Einstein. You're not.
No.
Most of the people I know with a 4-year degree are retarded. They have no life experience. What is that?
That's your chair.
It's my chair.
I've been wondering what that was.
Yeah, I thought there was a fire alarm going off. Nothing is more important than life experience. And we went back. I was talking during the metal show that Brian didn't watch about how important learning became to me. And I was just talking to you millennial guys. It's time to start reading. Most education is not found in a classroom. It's through experience and your own natural curiosity. You got to throw this stuff. What were you saying today? UC Santa Barbara is trying to hire a social justice director.
Yeah, the social justice. Yeah, it's a director. It's somebody that's going to direct everything on campus.
What does that have to do with learning history, being an engineer, or anything?
I mean, they have to have classes that are for social justice. I mean,
it's a waste of money.
They have toxic masculinity classes in college.
Well, that's toxic masculinity. This is all. This is a funny thing. But if I'm the one guy in the room and there's a heavy box,
Yeah.
Who's the first person you ask?
Can you move this for me?
So they're all acting like we have no role in society.
All right.
But as soon as there's something above their head or something over 50 pounds,
Yeah.
try it without us. Maybe we should do that.
I told that lady on Facebook today. I go, the next time you need anything, and you think about asking a man, think twice about doing it, because remember, you all say that you can do everything and you don't need us. And if you don't, and people are going to, oh, well, we don't say that. No, it's said all the time.
Yeah.
You want Joy Behar said it not that long ago.
Yeah.
And and then one minute she says, we don't need you. And then the next minute she goes, men are supposed to defend us.
Yeah.
No, I'm done defending.
Maybe
you.
we should start doing their thing and just like a day without white men.
Yeah, that would be racist.
There would also be famine, power outages, airplanes would be falling out of the sky, you name it. I'm tired of it. You know what? Feminism. I give a fuck if you're a feminist. And here's the thing. They act like they're trying to make it feel like all women feel this way.
Right.
But if you pay attention, most moms, most sisters, most wives and girlfriends don't really believe this shit. They understand how important we are. And I'm not going to defend myself to a woman that couldn't get laid in a bar at 2 at night. You're fat, you're ugly, nobody loves you, throw yourself off a roof, you stink. That's all I have. I'm done with them, dude. Look at the pigs that are out here doing this. Threes. We're going to let threes run our world?
Just remember this, though. We may be lumping all women into this, but we're really not. And you women know who is being lumped into this.
No, this is just feminists. You're not that important. There's a reason why there's men and female. We both have a purpose in this world. Leave us the fuck alone.
Yeah. And I had this argument with my mom yesterday, and I said, and she goes, you can't blame everybody. I said, well, I'm going to right now. I'm going to blame everybody until you guys fix the problem. And she goes, that's not fair. I go, yeah, it's just like the Muslim problem.
Yeah, it's the same argument as terrorism.
Argument. Terrorism.
Yeah,
we're going to blame all of you for it until you fix your issues.
Fix yourselves. Absolutely fix yourselves.
And you can blame all of us men for whatever, because you always do.
Yeah, it's retarded. What's the next slide? I totally.
I don't think we have it. That's it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's the
end of the show.
That's the end of
we
the
were
show.
way too serious.
This show is.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was a venting show.
Yeah.
So and we still did 48 minutes.
Yeah.
Dude, we suck. This one, I guess there was more shit than giggles.
Yeah.
On this one, but I had to blow off a little bit of steam.
No, I've been really pissed off. This has been ridiculous.
But what I do have a video on my phone. I don't know if we're going to be able to pull it off. It sucks because if it's on for a while and then it gets pulled and we got to change the video, we're going to lose like whatever views on it. But it was the most amazing swish I've ever seen.
All right.
There was nothing off the backboard. Nothing but net. So I will leave you with one of the grossest videos you've ever seen. If you sat through this, I'm Matt Bernal.
And I'm Brian.
And it's all fun and games until somebody, which one do you like better? We're doing this just for shits and giggles, or it's all fun and game, it's all shits and giggles until someone giggles and shits.
I like that one.
You like that? All right, let's do it again. You ready? I'm Matt Bernal.
And I'm Brian.
All right, let's try it again. You suck. I'm Matt Bernal.
And I'm Brian.
And it's all shits and giggles. Damn it.
It's all shits and giggles until somebody...
Giggles and shits. All right, bye.
Bye.
Break me down, you got a lovely face. We're going to your place, and now you got to freak me out. Scream so loud, getting fucking laid. You want me to stay, but I got to make my way. Hey, you're crazy bitch, but you fuck so good I'm on top of it when I dream I'm doing you all night. Scratches all down my back to keep me right on. Hey, you're crazy bitch, but you fuck so good.